Hey VC, Mitch here, a guy in a hat who loves to talk about records. And this video is another one in my series of newbies. And I was very conscious it was getting towards the end of the year. And I still had some albums that I wanted to talk about that I've been buying in November. But it gets caught up in the end of year lists and everyone's concentrating on Christmas and things like that. But I wanted to talk about these albums because I didn't really want them to be forgotten or sort of left in the rush of Christmas. So I've got 7 albums to talk to you about. I'm not going to dilly-dally or shilly-shally. And I don't think I'll be doing another one anyway. This is probably the last Newbies video of the year because who releases albums in December anyway, apart from Michael Bublé? 7 albums, I'm going to whiz through, no waffle, let's go for it. So the first one is a favourite band of mine, and it's the latest album from the Charlatans, and this is We Are Love. I'm not sure what album number this one is. It must be above 10 now, and it's been a while since their last album. This one is produced by Dev Hynes, who records himself under the name of Blood Orange, but I think he was known as Lightspeed Champion before that. But anyway, he's the producer for this album, and there's a lot of sort of synthy textures on this album. Obviously, you've got the usual sort of Hammond organ sound, Tony Rogers, that the Charlatans are known for, but there's so many additional musicians on here that play some sort of synthesizers. The LP is just full of sort of like synth textures and things like that, which gives it like a different sort of dimension than normal Charlatans albums. But I've been really enjoying this. It sounds really fresh, it sounds really upbeat, there's lots of great songs on here. You've got the rockers like We Are Love and You Can't Push the River, Deeper and Deeper. But you've got sort of like laid back sort of synth type numbers as well, like Out on Our Own, which has got loads of sort of layers of synth on it. And it's sort of like quite a calm and reflective album for the Charlatans as well. It's sort of like, it's quite mellow as well, which is nice. And yeah, I've been really enjoying this. It was recorded at Rockfield as well. Apparently, it's the first album they recorded there since Telling Stories, which is my favourite Charlatans album. And I think Tim Burgess has said it was a way of sort of like connecting, with the group and past members who aren't there anymore. So yeah, I've been playing this a lot recently. It's one of those albums that really grows on you as well. It's quite unassuming at first, but it really sort of, after a few listens, it really gets a hold on you. And it comes on this orangey type vinyl. And yeah, Charlatans, We Are Love. Really enjoying that at the moment. Next one is a new band. I think they only had their first album out last year, and Hot on the Heels is their second. This is The Last Dinner Party, 5-piece all-female band. Really enjoyed the first album, and they've got sort of like it's like a folky type, almost not really goth, but gothic-y type sort of sound to it. Obviously they enjoy cosplaying like Victorians, as you can see from the cover, and they've got a very distinct look. But they're a great band, really catchy songs, really imaginative arrangement. The front woman, Abigail Morris, has got a really sort of strong type vocal, and loads of pop hooks though, but it's very theatrical, as you can tell from the cover. I think the cover's meant to demonstrate the songs on the album. But to say how quick they followed up the first album, this is really good. I think they intended to work with James Ford again for the second album like they did on the first, but I think he's had leukemia or something, which is what delayed the Pulp album, because he produced that as well. So I think the production reins on this was handed over to, is it Marcus Dravs? Probably best known for producing Coldplay. So there is like quite a poppy sheen to this album, but again, it still has all the quirks of the band that the first album had. And yeah, really catchy songs, really sort of imaginative arrangements. Great songs on here. This is The Killer Speaking, I think that was the single. Woman is a Tree, with its sort of like folky type layered vocals. And The Scythe, which is a really sort of cool ballad about passing and people passing away and time moving on and things like that. Quite a reflective ballad. But yeah, really enjoying this again. to say like it's such a quick follow-up, it doesn't sound particularly rushed. It does sound, you know, as full of imaginative ideas for the songs as the first album had. So again, it's sort of like I got an inner sleeve, which sort of demonstrates the way that they think of the songs as sort of like little plays, little playlets. It comes on this red vinyl, and nice lyric sheet there as well. So yeah, I've been enjoying this. I'd say it was as good as the first album. Sometimes it's like the dreaded second album syndrome, but yeah, I think this is almost as good as the first one, to be honest with you. So yeah, that's The Last Dinner Party and From the Pyre. Next up is a group that I got into during their second album, and I really enjoyed it. And I was really curious to see if they brought another album out, whether I'd enjoy it as much, and I have. And this is New York group called Say She She. This is their third album, Cut and Rewind. And Say She are sort of like a chic influenced 70s sounding soul funk group. Obviously very much sort of 70s vibe centric in terms of the arrangements and the production. So it's got an absolutely sort of warm sounding, gorgeous production to it. It's got strings. They're backed by a cool funk group called Orgon. I think they're called Orgon. That's it. And I think they're a funk group in their own right, but they're such a great band. So obviously they back up the three singers. So the singers are Nia Brown, Sabrina Cunningham, and Pia Malik. And the voices just blend together so well. And I was really impressed with their second album, Silver. I think it was on Coal Mine. So that gives you an example of what this sort of like what they might sound like in your head. Obviously, if they're on Coal Mine, they will have that sort of sound. And to be honest with you, a lot of the sort of retro soul groups, a lot of them leave me cold, but Say She She are great. They've got like that sort of mix of funk and soul and 70s disco, which I love. And the voices blend together really beautifully, but they've got a bit of an edge to them. So it's not just they don't sound run of the mill. They've got like a sort of like a funky edge to them as well, and a bit of a sharp edge to the sound. And obviously they sound like a 70s soul group, but they sing about a lot of contemporary topics. Obviously there's a lot of feminist topics and about women, where women are today, and you know how a lot of subjects approached from a woman's point of view. So they have got quite a relevant sort of style of songwriting. But yeah, I've been really impressed with this. I thought Silver might just be a one-off that I enjoyed, but this has been just as good. I mean, you've got songs like Cut and Rewind. Under the Sun is an absolutely gorgeous string-soaked ballad that sounds like it sort of takes its cues from Roy Ayers. Everybody Loves the Sunshine. So that's, I really enjoyed that. And you've got the funky sort of disco floor filler, Disco Life. But yeah, the whole album, it's just really catchy, really funky, just really breezy. And like I said, the voices blend together so well. So if you like that kind of sort of like retro funk soul type sound, then I can't recommend these enough. Say She She are probably one of the best groups doing this at the moment, I think. So yeah, check that out. And that's on nice lilac coloured, deep purple coloured vinyl, and you get the there's the three ladies and on the lyric sheet. But yeah, another thing I've been really enjoying recently, so yeah, highly advise you check that out. Say She She, Cut and Rewind. Next up, we've got something more on the electronica type tip, and this is the latest album by the Utopia Strong, and it's called Dope Rider. As you can see, cool like 80s type artwork there. And basically the Utopia Strong are a three-piece, and I love saying this, who have, believe it or not, Steve Davis, 6 times world snooker champion as one of the members, and he plays modular synth on this. And it just still blows my mind that Steve Davis is in a band and he's part of this band. Then you've got Kavas Tarabe, who's the guitarist in Gong, in the current touring Gong lineup, and also I think he plays in the Cardiacs as well, the modern day variation of the Cardiacs. And you've also got Michael York of Coil. So it's kind of like a supergroup, but what a bizarre membership for a supergroup. But I don't know if you've heard any of their other albums, but they're sort of like, they do like instrumental electronica type albums with a bit of a psychedelic edge to them, and obviously you've got a lot of modular synth type patterns and sounds going through the album. I think this is their third album, and it's a bit of a change from the last albums because it's not quite as psychedelic edged or as frantic. I think this is a bit more mellow. This is a bit more sort of like stripped back. So there's more of like an ambient sound to this one, and it's more spacey and drifting than their previous albums. But it's really enjoyable. So if you like anything like electronica, if you like ambient, if you like krautrock, you can't really go wrong with this one. They've got sort of like long drawn out instrumental pieces and some short ones. There's a bit of a mixture. They've got a few female type vocals, sort of backing vocals to add to the ambience. Can't remember what the name of the woman who does them. It says it here. Oh, Catherine Blake. Yeah, I think she was a member of the Medieval Babes, if you remember them. But she does some sort of like atmospheric type backing vocals on these tracks. And it's sort of like a great electronica album. There's a great sort of like guitar riff and spacey synthesizers on Prophecy, which is my favourite track on the album. But like I say, some side B, especially the pieces stretch out. So there's long drifted ambient type pieces. But like I say, if you like krautrock or anything like that, then you'll like this. So this is on Rocket, the experimental label. As you can see, and this is on azure blue vinyl, lovely looking piece of vinyl there. And I've been enjoying that a lot recently. So if you like electronica and stuff, then check out the Utopia Strong. There's not many snooker elements in it, I'll be honest, but it's not like Snooker Loopy by Chaz and Dave. You don't get any sort of Cockney rhyming or anything in it. Just pure instrumental electronica, but highly recommended. So that's the Utopia Strong and Dope Rider. So for the next recommendation, I've got a bit of hip hop for you. And I don't listen to a lot of contemporary hip hop. My hip hop era was, I mean, I love hip hop, but my era was sort of like the late 80s to the mid 90s. So a lot of the hip hop I love and enjoy is like old school, Grandmaster Flash, all the early Sugar Hill stuff. And I love like, Public Enemy, Beastie Boys, Third Bass, all the sort of early type hip hop. But I don't tend to dip my toe a lot in modern hip hop unless there's a few artists that I do. And if a few catch my ear, then I'll check them out, and I might pick a few up. But I don't buy a lot of hip hop anymore. But there's one artist that I do buy a lot of, and that is Earl Sweatshirt. And Earl Sweatshirt, this is his fifth album, Live, Laugh, Love, which is not the kind of title most hip hop albums have, but Earl Sweatshirt isn't your typical hip hop artist. And the reason why I love Earl Sweatshirt is his whole approach to it, because it's sort of like abstract hip hop. And, regular viewers of my channel will realise that I like a lot of abstract music. So Earl Sweatshirt albums are always very short. They're usually between 25 to 30 minutes. And the reason why is all the tracks are very short. So he has a certain style of production that sort of relies on sort of like samples that are looped continuously. So it's quite avant-garde production wise. He doesn't mess about. He says what he's got to say, then the track usually abruptly stops and he moves on to the next subject. And with Earl Sweatshirt as well, his flow is very, very different to a lot of other hip hop artists. It's got a lot of sort of poetry and sort of images in it. So you've got a real mixture of sort of in jokes, sort of old school braggadocio type raps. You've got sort of statements on his own life and how he's progressing through life, and it's a real mix, and there's a lot of imagery and things like that. So when he raps, it's sort of like a real stream of consciousness. He doesn't often stop for breath. It's like a real sort of like it's like a dam bursting. So you've got like a minute and a half of him rapping over a really sort of avant-garde looped sampling backing track, and abruptly it stops and he moves on to the next one. But it's just fascinating to me. I mean, to say most of his albums are like 20 minutes long, but there's so much to unpick in them, and there's so many words and things he packs into the tracks. It really is one way you'd sit down with the lyric sheet and try and fathom out what he's going on about. I mean, this one is very different from his other ones because it's quite personal for Earl Sweatshirt. He's talking about being a bit more grounded. Now he's in his 30s. He's got 2 kids. He got married last year. He's settling down a little bit. And there's some great reflections on growing up and how his life has changed, and the sort of honesty about being a parent, and I hope I don't fuck this up, and I hope I can change my life and do make the best of what I've got, and also to sort of make peace with my past and things like that. And yeah, absolutely love Earl Sweatshirt. He's got a sort of really sort of laconic delivery. It's really sort of slow, it's quite deep, it's got like an MF Doom type cadence to his voice, but it's just fascinating to me. I love how the tracks are produced. I love his sort of like stream of consciousness type lyrics, and he's one of them artists that modern hip hop is very different to the hip hop that I grew up with, in terms of it's not bound so much by strict rhymes. It's sort of like it's almost like more of a flow these days, and things don't have to rhyme, or there's internal rhymes, or there's rhymes that are thrown into the middle of sentences and aren't completed or are completed. So it's very, very different type of approach to hip hop these days. But like I say, Earl Sweatshirt is someone I always buy the albums he releases. I absolutely love them, and the fact that it's quite abstract and avant-garde, that's right up my alley as well. So this is his latest, like I say, came out earlier this year. This just had a vinyl release. You get the production credits and the lyric sheet, which is a fascinating read if you can keep track of it all. And like I say, tracks are really short, about a minute to a minute and a half usually. Sometimes they span up to 3 minutes, but and it comes on this nice sort of like black splodge and orange vinyl. So yeah, if you like hip hop, if you like a bit of abstract hip hop and something a bit off kilter, well, I recommend any albums by Earl Sweatshirt. I think I've got most of them. I always enjoy his albums. So this is a version with an alternate cover, so you've got the slippers and the welcome mat, and which ties in with the image of like him settling down and things like that. But yeah, he's not lost his edge. It's some great tracks on here, and it's just a great headphone listen as well. When we're sitting down with the lyric sheet and just marveling at the wordplay, it's just, oh, I love him. It's just great. So that's Earl Sweatshirt's Live, Laugh and Love. The next album is an album that I've been really enjoying, and in fact it came very, very, very close to being included in my top 20 albums of 2025, which is hopefully the next videos I'll be working on. It came really close. If you want to know how close it came to being included in the list, it was this close. And you see that? That's how close it was to being included. And this is a band that I've always liked, although I think their last couple of albums were a bit sort of nondescript for me. They were good, but they weren't great. And this is the first album they've made in 9 years, and I think it's all the better for them having a rest. And this is the latest album by Tortoise, Chicago multi-instrumentalists and experimental band. They're often sort of called, they're lumped in with the genre known as post-rock. And a lot of people over the years have said to me, Midge, what does post-rock actually mean? And I always say, I haven't got a clue. It's probably just a marketing term that they use to make it sound trendy, because post-rock to me really is instrumental rock, or it's, if you want to get a bit pretentious, it's instrumental rock with the sort of typical rock elements stripped back or removed, so it's not like full of riffs or anything like that, or drum solos or anything like that. But yeah, post rock is something I've never really understood. I suppose it's because bands don't like to be called progressive rock anymore, or jazz rock or jazz fusion, but I think post rock bands all have an element of those other genres in them, but it's probably just did prefer a trendier term. So don't ask me what post rock is, ultimately, because I haven't got a clue. But post rock is Tortoise, apparently. So yeah, this is their first album in 9 years. It's typical Tortoise, although I don't want to, that's not a disparaging comment. It's the Tortoise that you know and love. So, like I said, their last couple of albums have been a bit like nothing remarkable. They're sort of like, on a level. But this one, I bought it and I played it a couple of times. It didn't really, pull me in, but I've tried it a few more times and it really does. It's really stuck. And I think this has got more of a fresh element to it. It does sound like the band have sort of like become a bit more imaginative again in the arrangements, and they sound more like the Tortoise of old. So you've got it's very hard to describe the music that Tortoise do, but it's sort of like a mixture. It's obviously instrumental. They use keyboards and synths and drum machines, but they have got, obviously they are a proper band. They have a drummer and things like that, and keyboard players and that. But a lot of the tracks are electronic in tone. They've got like very strange sort of time signatures and things like that. Sometimes it's quite cinematic sounding as well. You can imagine a lot of these tracks on being used in films and things like that. And there is a lot of melody in it. It's not like it's totally abstract or anything like that. Tortoise do dabble in melody. But the melody's not often on a guitar or anything like that. Sometimes it's the rhythm that's the melody, as daft as it sounds. But yeah, I've been absolutely loving this. It's the strongest album they've made in years. The artwork is fantastic as well. I spend ages staring at that. It's just really cool how it works. It's the same lineup that Tortoise have always had: Dan Bitney, John Herndon, Douglas McCombs, John McIntyre and Jeff Parker. And obviously John McIntyre was the producer for Stereolab for many years. Jeff Parker's a jazz guitarist. He's made some solo albums, and they're just a great band. I've always enjoyed Tortoise albums. This is their latest on International Anthems. I think that's a Chicago label as well, and it comes in an international anthem. It's a polyline sleeve, and amazingly it's on black vinyl, which you don't often see anymore, do you? It's not, people don't often do black vinyl, so that was a nice surprise. It came with a couple of goodies as well, a poster and a couple of stickers. I love promotional stuff for albums, as you know, so that's a really cool Tortoise sticker, and one for the label. Also, it came with an obi, and on the obi it says, "Rare elements realign collectively into it and redefine a resurgent bulwark and bold of curious sound." Now, if anyone can actually explain that to me or translate it, drop it in the comments below. But that's what it says. But yeah, the music is very enjoyable. So yeah, came very close to being in the top 20, missed by a rat's whisker. So highly recommend that. Tortoise and Touch. Now, this album was released earlier in the year, but I've only just picked up a copy of it, and I picked it up from a YouTube channel's recommendation, and it was Ed from On My Turntable 7036, so check out his channel. I really like the way he presents his videos, and he just mentioned this album as a new release he bought recently, and when I listened to him describing it, I really liked the sound of it, so I picked up a copy as well. I've been really enjoying it. And this is Kendra Morris, and next, this is the first album I've tried by Kendra Morris. I think she's had 2 or 3 out, and it's on the Karma Chief label, which is a subsidiary of Coal Mines. So again, you probably know the vibe of where this is coming from. So it's sort of like Kendra has like she's a singer-songwriter, very 70s soul infused type music. But it's quite lo-fi, this production, which is nice. It's really stripped back. The band is really cool. Her backing band, they've got like a really funky, loose sound, but it's drenched in reverb, and it's really sort of sparse type production, really lo-fi, which suits the songs. And she touches on a few touchstones and different genres. So there's some sort of like stripped back blues type sounding songs where it's just her and an electric guitar. There's really like modern soul type songs, and there's even a reggae type number on it as well. And it touches the funk here and there. But like I say, like a 70s soul inspired singer-songwriter album, but with those sort of elements to it. But I've been really enjoying this. It's yeah, something a bit different, and I really like her look. She's got a really cool look to her, and she looks a bit like Janis Joplin, kind of. But also like the packaging as well, because it's like, as the front cover illustrates, the gatefold folds out, and it's an actual game you can play. The instructions on how to play the game are there. And you get like a really cool insert where you can cut out her and the members of a band, and there's sort of like Kendra cards where you can actually play the game, and it tells you to do actions throughout the game. We all have something in common. Turn to the player on your left and perform a 5-word eulogy in their honour. Advance 1 space upon completion. For bonus points, sing it. I won't be doing that. So yeah, and there's Kendra. She's got a really cool look, and yeah, all you need is a dice not included, and it comes on this really sort of cool green and smoky type vinyl. Hype sticker there. Roll the dice and play Kendra's lo-fi soul adventure. And yeah, so thanks, Ed. I've been really enjoying this. Really cool album. Like I said, on Karma Chief. So if you like singer-songwriters, if you like the sort of like the 70s inflected type sound that Coal Mine do so well, then yeah, check this out. Kendra Morris and Next. And that's it. That's all the new release albums I've been buying recently. So I don't think there'll be any more in December. This is a time where I sort of immerse myself in Christmas music, which might be the subject of the next video. But yeah, end of year list hopefully coming soon. I'm working on that at the moment. I'm really hoping that you'll be interested and you'll tune in for it. But yeah, they're the albums, last of the new releases for 2025. So I'll see you on the next video. And thanks for watching if you watched. If you didn't watch, well, I'll let you off. See you on the next video. Midge out.